I'd like to talk to you about something a little bit different today. Another accessory we have. A lot of bushcrafters and survivalists and whatnot are really fond of a convex edge, and as you know, that's a difficult thing for most sharpening fixture systems to put a true convex edge on. Typically, they have to be free-handed, but we do have a new accessory right here. I'll let you get a look at it. And basically it's just our regular guide rod, but if you can see, it's got a really nice gentle curve in it. And when we hook this up to our stone carrier in use from the beginning of your stroke to the end of your stroke, there's about 5 degrees of difference, so that you can end up with a truly radius convex edge. It works really nice. I'm going to show you how to set it up, how to use it. It's just pretty much the same as your standard rod, except instead of having a nut on the end, there's a little thumb knob here. And we want to, instead of with our standard rod, we would want that nut backed all the way off and tight right here before we start. Leave this one just a little bit loose, just a little bit loose. You're going to need that. Then the next thing is it goes in just the same as the others. Just spin it down in there. The difference with the convex rod is when we get to the bottom and we go to lock that in, it's very important that the radius of that rod is not crooked like that. You want it straight. Let me see if I can get this to the camera. Something like that, you know what I mean? So that this arch is right at 12 o'clock on your stone carrier. And the way you do that, you get it pretty close like that, then tighten up the little wing nut at the bottom. Excuse me, thumb knob, it's not a wing nut. And you can tighten that down, and then that will hold your position. I always like to double check by sighting it. And I'll turn this around. I don't know how well you'll be able to see, but it's pretty straight up and down. That's the important part. So you don't just spin the rod in and however it lands, it lands. Make sure it comes out with the arch, the top of the arch, at 12 o'clock on the stone carrier. Okay. You'll notice there's an O-ring that fits pretty tight. It slides, but it's tight. And then there's also a mechanical stop, little thumb nut. You can loosen it and slide it, and I'll show you what that's for in a moment. Start with this. Start with your O-ring up the rod quite a ways, but bring this down and just snug it to keep it out of the way. And once you have your knife clamped, this is a Kershaw rake that was given to me by a very good friend. And Leo, you can see I've used the crap out of it. This thing is all beat up and scratched up, but it's been a really good knife too. So I actually put a convex on this, and it's made quite a difference in the cutting edge durability, and also just in general use. It just seems to slice better, and like I said, it does stay sharp longer. I know there's debate out there about whether that's true or not, but here's the thing. You see the O-ring, right? When we're setting this up, I want to push the O-ring right up against the ball, and now keep pushing, slowly, and keep an eye on this end of the stone. Set it down, and come right up till just about, I'm trying to get it in the camera, this is tough. About right there, where I see the stone is still on the knife. And then once you have that, pull it out, move your permanent stop right up against your O-ring, and just snug it. Just snug it. None of the knobs on these sharpeners need to be really cranked down. So what happens is now, as we're sharpening, I'll try to show you. See, it's got that radius in it. there is approximately from here, from this end of the stone, as that's going up, you'll get about a 5-degree variance. So what you're doing is putting a nice radius edge on your bevel. And when you go originally to profile a knife, you'd start with 100 or maybe even a beast, just to quickly get the metal taken off. And otherwise, there's a couple little minor details that are different, but otherwise it's pretty much the same as sharpening any other knife or sharpening any other bevel, regular normal flat bevel. What the stop does is prevent us from bringing this stone up so far that this front edge can come up onto the side of the blade and put scratches in it. So by just having that stop there, you'll see it hit the bearing. Boom, boom, boom. Now I can focus on my actual sharpening, which typically is just like any other convexing, is away from the edge strokes. And you want to use the entire length of the stone if possible, because that's what's giving you your full radius on the edge. So you start at the base just like any other knife and come away, away, pick it up, put it down, away, pick it up, put it down, away, pick it up, put it down, away. And within a few seconds you'll see it's very comfortable, and you'll develop the muscle memory. And you can get going pretty fast, and if we didn't have the stop on there, it would be easy to come up too far, land the front edge of this abrasive stone right on the side of your knife and put some nasty scratches in there. So that's the purpose for the stop. And it's adjustable for different knives. Just like any other sharpening, make sure you come all the way to the tip. And with the convexing rod, if you're going to put a convex edge on your knife, it's important that we really go slow. These strokes can be fast, but the drift down the blade is really slow, because we want to hit all these points. We want the whole knife to be nice and uniformly radiused. Now, I've already had this one convex for the last couple of years, so it's going to be fairly easy to touch up. I'm actually using I just used the 300 off camera before we started the video, just to get it back to where I had a burr and raised it, because those rules are all still the same when you're sharpening. And flip it over, put your rod back in, and the same thing. I'm not necessarily counting these, you know. If it takes me 40 seconds to go down one side of the blade, then I try to put 40 seconds on the other side. Don't overcomplicate it. It's really not rocket science, contrary to what you're hearing. So once you have your burr at 300, which, like I said, I've already done that off camera. Now we're just refining and polishing. But you see, it's putting a nice curved bevel on there, a radius bevel, a true convex that otherwise can only be done freehand with a mouse pad and some sandpaper. And so, just a point of some detail here. When we're up here on this end of the stone is way up on the side of the bevel. It's not touching the cutting edge. So as we come further forward, we're getting closer, and right at the end, just as it falls off, that's when you're hitting the apex. Right there. Not here, you're on the side of the blade. Here you're even way up further on the side of the blade, because you're putting a nice radius edge on there, you know what I mean? So when it comes time to deburr, the only place that you can do it is right here at the very back end of the stone. And they're just short little, just want to cut off that burr. And flip it back over and do the same on the other side, very lightly. And just deburring. And it's already, it's quite sharp. You can see it. It just grabs my nail immediately, all the way along there, wherever I touch. So then, otherwise it's the same as sharpening with any others. That was a 600. Now we'll go to the extra fine 1500. Drop the bottom of the stone in, the clip, and repeat the process, because as just like any other sharpening, all we're doing now is taking this 1500 is taking the scratches from the bevel that the 600 put in. And it's really as simple as that. You have to go spend as much time as you need to spend, especially when you're first profiling, particularly with a convex edge, because you're not only changing the bevel, you're changing the shape of the bevel, so that's going to take a little bit of material stock removal the first time you do it. Start with a real coarse stone, just get a burr. And then once you have that, everything from there is just refining, refining, refining. Each stone is just removing the scratches from the other previous, and it's just going to continue to get more and more well refined as we go. Okay, so at 1500, I have no doubt. Like I said, I'm going to go back and just deburr, just to make sure. And those are these little strokes. I'll try to put it so you can see it better. Just little, work your way up. And that should knock the burr off. It also puts one on the other side, so lightly, I'm just letting this thing touch. Now let's set this aside and just check. I'm sure it'll shave hair right off. Oh yeah, yeah. An interesting thing is, like I said, there's approximately a 5 degree difference radius in that rod. So that bevel is curved, and so is that bevel. And when you pinch it and pull your fingers off of there, you can actually feel it. It's like they're not flat, they're round. And they come to a nice, sharp apex, but it gives you a really nice, true convex edge. Now, I almost always will finish this with a strop, at least a 4 micron. Because as careful as I am going down the stone, you may not get a perfect, I may not get a perfect, every little point along there might not get exactly the same use. And you can end up, you see it, how it's kind of jeweled looking? I call it jeweled looking. It's a consistent bevel, but it's just not that smooth mirror polish that we're used to. So then we'll go to the 4 micron strop. I didn't have my rod type, but anyway, go to 4 micron strop. Oh, and by the way, you guys are worried about scratching your strops and oh, I cut my strop. Look at mine. That thing has been through the war. It's not as pretty as it once was, but functionally, it's still perfectly fine. And because the diamonds and the strops, and for that matter the lapping films, are all pretty much the same thickness, there's no real need for the stone thickness compensator on those, unless you want to get into Chaucera stones. And sometimes somebody will want to throw an Arkansas stone in there too. But this is up, down, away, 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 away. At 4 micron, it's going to make a very, very dramatic difference, and it will also kind of blend that jeweled look on the bevel together and make it a much more uniform, not a full-blown mirror, but a much more uniform, consistent polish level. So really, that's about it. We're about done. But let's take a look. I don't know how much you can see that, but yeah, you can see that it's blended together. There's still a little bit of jeweling there. But let's take it out and see where we're at. That is, I believe, what most of us are after, correct? And like I said, pinching that is clearly a radius convex edge. And you can take it as far as you want. Just another one of those questions that we've been getting over the years. Hey, can your sharpener do a convex? And up until now, the answer was always no, and we're never satisfied when we have to answer no. But we don't have to answer no anymore. So thanks very much, and let us know if you have any questions.